Hey, what's going on everyone? Let's talk about some Pokemon. Generation 2 has given us some Pokemon that are pretty bad, and Pokemon has always tried to make Pokemon better in some way, shape, or form, be that through an evolution, mega evolution, regional variant, or a convergent species. While these are nice, there's still a lot of Pokemon that have yet to receive any love. So in this video, we're going to be buffing these stinkers that have been neglected since their introduction. Some of them might have gotten a stat buff over the years, but I'm not counting that because they're still bad. The goal of this video is not to make them top tier competitive Pokemon, just Pokemon that you can consider using if you wanted to use them competitively, or just better than what they currently are for a casual playthrough. Keep in mind, I'm only going to talk about the fully evolved Pokemon, but you can apply some of what I say to their pre-evolutions as well. If you want to see more theory crafting Pokemon videos like this, then be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And with the introduction out the way, let's begin. Ledian is the first Pokemon that comes to my mind when I think of terrible Gen 2 Pokemon. While its special defense is impressive, that is quite literally the only thing going for it. It's frail, doesn't hit hard, and it's only slightly faster than the average Pokemon. There are a few moves it learns which could be useful if it was better, such as Mach Punch, Drain Punch, and a U-turn, just to name a few. But because it's so bad, there's no point in using it over any other bug or flying type Pokemon. Whenever I come across someone attempting to buff Ledian, the most common thing is to increase its attack stat, and maybe change it to a bug and fighting type. While I can understand making it a bug and fighting type, I don't think it's necessary. But as for increasing its attack, that is something I am on board with, although it shouldn't be increased by a substantial amount. Ledian's Moon Pokédex says that its punches are piddly, which means pathetic and trivial. Therefore, it relies on the quantity of punches, not the quality. So it's safe to say that it's not a strong attacker. And I know the Pokédex should be taken with a grain of salt, but this claim in particular seems to be accurate. So while I do think it needs an increase to its attack shouldn't be too powerful. What I would do is make Ledian a glass cannon if it can set up. What I think would be a suitable change is to swap around its attack, special defense, and its speed. Its new attack becomes the same as its original speed, new special defense becomes the same as its original attack, and new speed becomes the same as its original special defense. Base 85 attack is nothing to tout about, although it is leagues better than 35, but its base 110 speed is definitely what's going to stand out for Ledian, although a simple stat distribution is not enough. For its abilities, Swarm is okay, but it's so frail that it's hardly ever going to use it. Iron Fist increases the power of its punching moves, but Early Bird serves a little purpose. I can't think of a reason to ever use this ability, so why not change it to Skill Link? Skill Link will make Ledian's multi-striking moves hit the maximum amount of times they can every time. If Ledian is focused on punching as many times as possible, then of course this ability suits it well. The only problem is the only multi-striking move Ledian learns is Comet Punch, which isn't even in Gen 8 or 9, so it's going to need more moves. Ledian already learns a handful of fighting type moves, so giving it Arm Thrust seems fine. I would also give it Pin Missile. I'd also bring a Comet Punch back, and for its last multi-striking move, go ahead and give it Bullet Seed. But I wouldn't stop with multi-striking moves. Close combat involves fighting the target up close and hitting them multiple times, something Ledian would surely do if it's focused on hitting as many times as it can. Ledian doesn't have a good stab flying type move, so the last move I would give it is Dual Wing Beat. With base 110 speed, you can be pretty scummy and you can give Ledian a King's Rock. That way you can try to make the opponent flinch with the multi-striking moves. Or you can give it a Focus Sash since it's so frail. It learns Swords Dance, so I can see Ledian as a mid to late game sweeper. The entire concept of Slugma and Magcargo sound really cool. They're a slug and snail that are comprised entirely of magma. Unfortunately, that's the best compliment I can give them. Slugma is incredibly weak, and Magcargo is a fully evolved Pokemon, yet its base stat total barely clears 400. Its best stat is its defense, sitting at a base 120, which is good, but it's undermined paired with its base 60 HP. The rest of its stats aren't anything to brag about, and just look at its speed. 30 speed is abysmal, and it's gonna get outsped almost every time. I mean, that's good for a Trick Room team, but you're better off with Camerupt or Torkoal. In fact, Why would you even want to use Mag Cargo over Colossal? Almost every one of Colossal stats are either superior or the same as Mag Cargo's. The only stat Mag Cargo has over Colossal is Special Attack, and it's only by a measly 10 points. And even with superior stats, Colossal is still pretty garbage, so Mag Cargo is gonna need more than just better stats. The best thing that happened to Mag Cargo was that it got Shell Smash. Even though it gains a +2 to its attack, special attack, and speed, it's still not hard to outspeed Mag Cargo, so it's a very ineffective fire type. But let's go ahead and bump its special attack. If it's meant to be this really slow Pokemon since it's a snail, then it's okay to shave off 10 points from its speed and redistribute it to its special attack. Then add an additional 20 points to its special attack, making it now 120. And as for its abilities, it doesn't need to have Magma Armor. Magma Armor is one of the most pointless abilities in my opinion, because the only Pokemon that have this ability is the Mag Cargo line and Camerupt. All this ability does is prevent the Pokemon from being frozen, which is pointless for them because they're fire type, and fire type Pokemon cannot be frozen. It's somewhat useful in Gen 9 due to terrestrialization, but outside of that, there's almost no reason to use this ability. With Mag Cargo no longer having Magma Armor, I thought about giving it one of the best abilities every fire type Pokemon would love to have, and that is Drought. I mean, it's 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit, so if any Pokemon would have Drought, it definitely would be Mag Cargo. Giving Mag Cargo Drought instantly makes it more relevant. Drought sets up Sunlight, which not only buffs its fire-type moves, but also weakens water-type attacks, one of Mag Cargo's biggest weaknesses. I know I downplayed Mag Cargo's Shell Smash, but if you can pull it off with a Drought, it's going to hit hard with a 50% boost to its fire-type attacks. But I thought about giving Mag Cargo an ability that instantly sets up the weather is such an easy way to make any Pokemon better. Plus, there's almost like half a dozen Pokemon that set up the sun as well, so while this makes Mag Cargo better, it's probably going to be the worst sun setter. If you want an ability that's more nuanced for Mag Cargo, I think Water Absorb is a good candidate. Mag Cargo is so hot that raindrops evaporate before they touch its body, so clearly it has some type of immunity to water. And it turns its 4-time weakness into an immunity, but Water Absorb doesn't seem to make that much sense to me. Water Absorb is about absorbing water, which Mag Cargo definitely doesn't do. So, instead, I would give it Earth Eater. It's the same as Water Absorb, but now it's immune to ground-type moves, its other 4 times weakness. Now, does this one make sense? Not really, but I think it makes more sense than Water Absorb, and that's definitely gonna help Mag Cargo in the long run. Its move pool needs just a little work. The first move I would give it is Meteor Beam. It's a rock-type attack with 140 power, which raises the user's special attack the first turn and attacks the second turn. There are a few rock-type special attackers, Mag Cargo being one of them, yet it can't learn this move. Shell Smash can be risky because you're gonna get hit the first turn you use it, and it's not even guaranteed you're gonna outspeed your opponent the second turn, so Mag Cargo might go down within 2 turns with Shell Smash. But with Meteor Beam, you can give Mag Cargo a Power Herb, and it's gonna use the move within 1 turn. It gets a +1 boost to its special attack instead of a +2 with Shell Smash, but it's a fair trade-off in my opinion. And it would be really devastating in a Trick Room team. I assume the reason it can learn Smog and Clear Smog is because it's so hot that it creates a poisonous cloud of smoke. I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that it can learn Sludge Bomb then, which may or may not be useful. Sunflora is one of those Pokemon that is just flat out bad. Its stats are mediocre, not the best user of its abilities, and it's a mono grass type, making it weak to a lot of common types. Let's start with its base stats. Sunflora has decent special attack at 105, but it's not enough to make up for its abysmal speed of 30 and its frail defenses. It can hit pretty hard in some situations, but good luck setting up, especially when a lot of things outspeed and one-shot it. And let's be real, there are better grass types out there which can do everything Sunflora does, but better. Sunflora can only truly thrive when there is sun. That way it can activate either one of its 2 abilities, Chlorophyll or Solar Power. So without the sun, it's not going to be that good. And even with it, you're probably better off using something like Venusaur or Lilligant. If Sunflora is ever going to see the light of day, it needs some serious changes. Let's start with its special attack. Right now, 105 doesn't cut it for a Pokemon that is this slow and frail. Bumping it to 125 gives it the firepower it actually needs to break through walls and threaten opponents. Next, we need to fix its type. I know Pokemon rarely changes types, and I don't see them ever changing a Pokemon to another type unless they're changing it to a newly introduced type. But let's just say Sunflora is the exception, making it a grass and fire type. Grass is one of the worst types defensively, with weaknesses to fire, flying, bug, poison, and ice. By adding the fire type, Sunflora gains stab to fire type moves, and loses its weakness to fire, bug, and ice types, which is a huge upgrade. It'd be a lot harder to wall. Plus, grass and fire type just fits well for this Pokemon since it's a sunflower powered by the sun. The only problem is that we got not one, but two grass and fire type Pokemon introduced in Generation 9. If Sunflora wants to stand out, it's going to need more than a base 125 special attack. Even with this new type, it's just going to live in Scovalion's shadow. Scovalion has better stats, it's a better chlorophyll user, it has Insomnia, which is a better version of Early Bird, and it has a Moody. Sunflora hardly gains anything from its abilities, so let's change one of them. I guess I would change Chlorophyll to Flash Fire. Flash Fire makes it immune to fire-type attacks, and raises the power of its fire-type attacks. With this ability, it needs not to rely on getting put to sleep or the sun to activate its other abilities. The reason I chose to get rid of Chlorophyll over Solar Power is because I'd like to see more Trick Room teams, so this version of Sunflora might actually thrive under Trick Room, but it's going to need some fire-type moves. As a fire type, I would give it the standard fire-type moves, like Flamethrower and Fire Blast. Let's throw Overheat in there as well, just in case. As for support moves, go ahead and give it Stun Spore and Sleep Powder. Noctowl is a Route 1 bird Pokemon, but it's also a psychic-powered owl with incredible vision, making it an excellent hunter. Unfortunately, it's just another early-game Pokemon that gets outclassed later. It doesn't hit hard, it's too slow to keep up with modern threats, and its abilities, while fitting from a lore perspective, are just outdated in competitive play. Let's start with its stats. Noctowl's base special attack of 86 isn't anything to brag about. Even with Tinted Lens boosting its not very effective attacks, Noctowl still isn't that powerful. With base 70 speed, it's not fast enough to outspeed most offensive threats. Defensively, it has decent special defense at 100, but its base 50 defense and 85 HP leave it wide open to physical attacks. Then there are two of its three abilities. Insomnia and Keen Eye make sense from a thematic perspective, but it's not good in competitive play. These abilities are niche at best. Insomnia is good because it prevents you from being put to sleep, and Keen Eye's protection against accuracy drops is almost never relevant, so the first thing I would do is change its special attack from 86 to 100. This way, Noctowl can provide more of an offensive threat. With this boost, moves like Hurricane, Psychic, and even Hyper Voice would hit significantly harder, especially after setting up a nasty plot. But I think if Noctowl wants to be more effective, then we gotta crank up its speed as well. 70 just isn't really that good, so I would boost that to 90. Now for its ability, I would actually get rid of Keen Eye. I've seen people say that Noctowl should have No Guard as its ability because it has really good eyesight, and it never fails at catching prey in the dark. But I don't think No Guard is the best ability for it, mainly because Mega Pidgeot has this ability, and I know Megas haven't been around in the past few generations, but it seems like that they're coming back. So I don't think it's really necessary to have two normal flying type Pokemon that have No Guard. What I would do is change a Keen Eye to Magic Guard. Magic Guard protects it from all indirect damage, including Stealth Rock, status effects, and Sandstorm. I know it seems strange to give Noctowl Magic Guard, but hear me out. Noctowl can learn a vast amount of Psychic-type moves, showing it's heavily associated with that type without being a Psychic type. Magic Guard is almost exclusively reserved for Psychic-type Pokemon, so giving it this ability would be a subtle nod to acknowledge it as an honorary Psychic type. There'd be no need to give it heavy-duty boots, which means it'd be able to clear hazards with Defog without having to suffer from the conditions of said hazards. A Tinted Lens variant of Noctowl would be more offensive, while a Magic Guard Noctowl plays a more supportive role. The option to choose between the two would help Noctowl stand out. I think its move pull is fine, but given its association to the night, I think giving it Dark Pulse would be suitable. Overall, its improved stats and abilities will make it more than just another Route 1 bird Pokemon. Finally, we have the worst starter Pokemon of all time, Meganium. There's a reason Meganium is regarded as the worst. While it's bulky and its stats are better than people give it credit for, the problem is Meganium just doesn't do anything. It has 80 HP and speed, 100 defense and special defense, 82 attack, and 83 special attack. When I look at these stats, I think it's supposed to play a supportive role, or maybe even be a bulky sweeper. However, its move pool and abilities hold it back. Meganium's abilities are Overgrow and Leaf Guard. Overgrow is the standard grass-type starter ability, and the starter's abilities are not really that good. Almost every single one of them would rather run their hidden ability rather than their regular ability. However, Leaf Guard is even worse. It only works in sunlight, which prevents Meganium from being statused. It's not a good ability, and I'd rather run an Overgrow Meganium than Leaf Guard Meganium. And just one look at its moveset just shows how strange Meganium is. There are some decent moves in there like Earthquake, Swords Dance, Outrage, and Leech Seed, but aside from that, what else can you do with Meganium? It's not gonna hit that hard, and I'd rather run a bulky Meganium because of its defenses, but the only good defensive moves that play a supportive role is Reflect and Light Screen. You can try to set up your screens, but there's better Pokemon that can achieve this, and there's better Pokemon that can stall. I don't really think Meganium needs 82 attack, so the first thing I would do is take away 20 points from its attack and give it to its special attack, raising its special attack to 103. This way, Meganium is bulky, and it can hit relatively hard. But the biggest glow up Meganium needs is to get rid of Leaf Guard, and I thought of a perfect ability to give a Meganium, and that ability is Triage. Triage gives priority to healing moves, allowing a Meganium to excel as a defensive support Pokemon or a recovery-based attacker. Triage is the signature ability of Comfey, which is a Pokemon themed around flowers. Meganium and Comfey are not only flower-themed Pokemon, but the two share a lot of similarities. Meganium's flowers give off a soothing fragrance, while Comfey's flowers give off an aromatic fragrance. Meganium can revive dead plants and flowers, while Comfey's flowers never wither. If there is any other Pokemon that deserves this ability, it's definitely Meganium. Meganium is definitely gonna need more healing-based moves if it wants to make use of this ability. Meganium is known for calming fighting spirits, so I'd give it Calm Mind to raise its special attack and special defense. Whenever I see people trying to give a Meganium a second type, it's usually Dragon or Fairy, so give it a couple moves from those types. It already learns Dragon Tail and Outrage, but those are physical moves. Throw in Dragon Pulse, which is a special attacking move. For Fairy-type moves, I would give it Draining Kiss, Moon Blast, and Floral Healing. Pollen Puff would also make a great move for doubles, especially because of its natural bulk. It'd have priority to heal its ally. The final move I would give it is Earth Power. It can learn the standard ground-type moves like Bulldoze, Stomping a Tantrum, and Earthquake, but again, these are all physical moves. Earth Power is a special attacking move, so it would benefit a lot from that, due to Earth Power preventing it from getting walled by Steel types. With its new ability and extended move pool, Meganium would definitely stand out as a starter Pokemon. It's going to make more of an impact, and I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be considered the worst starter there is. But anyways, that's gonna do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, then please consider sharing, and subscribing. Let me know what you think. Do you agree or disagree? And what Pokemon would you include, or what changes would you make? I'll catch you in the next one. Later.